Hey, folks, I'm Bryant Young.
And I'm Derek Chaney.
Here with the Decent Dads podcast. We have a really fun episode for everybody here. We've got one of our closest friends on the episode today. Connor O'Mealy was a blast.
He was. And he brought up a topic that not a lot of people talk about.
Sure.
So I love that.
Yeah,
that he
I
brought
appreciate
that up.
him bringing up the tough stuff.
But yeah, then we ended it on some definite high notes / funny stories.
Good stories, terrible dad jokes, and a slightly better introduction. So,
yeah, we're getting better. That's the main thing.
We're getting better. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the episode.
Episode 4.
Here we go. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the Decent Dads podcast. We're here to tell dad jokes, drink coffee, and build a community of dads navigating fatherhood together. I'm Bryant Young, fearless leader, co-host, girl dad, and your friendly local insurance agent based out of Springfield, Missouri. And now, before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome, he's a 6'3" sophomore shooting guard from small town Missouri. He wishes he was a first-team All-American, but instead, he is the coolest co-host with the most, a fantastic father of 2, and the home loan expert. Folks, put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Derek Chaney. How are you, Derek?
That was great. That's the smoothest one yet.
Way better.
Right?
I'm getting better.
Getting there.
Episode
Getting there.
4. And I'm
Yeah.
figuring it out.
We'll get there.
Proud of you, Bryant.
I could just see you smirking from the side.
Well,
that was really good.
Okay, so I've had the benefit of listening to 2 episodes by now, and why is Derek always a sophomore shooting guard?
I was going to ask that same question. Am I always going to be a sophomore?
Well, you're a shooting guard. I know that.
I mean,
you're
like-
not near tall enough to be anything but a shooting guard. So
I was like,
6'3",
anyways.
At Division II, which is what he played,
D7 or whatever he played in
Yeah.
college.
He played for the Drury University University Panthers? Yeah, that's what we're going to say.
University
Undefeated.
of Drury Panthers.
yeah, undefeated football team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
since 1932.
Hey, who do we have here today?
anyways, I'm doing great, Brian. Thank you for asking. It's 75 degrees in November, so
Pretty hard to argue
it's
with.
It's a beautiful day. How dad did that just sound? I immediately went to the weather.
super nice
okay.
outside.
Anyways, guest. Yes, we have an awesome guest here today. One of our good friends. Both of us have known him for quite a while. Connor. I know, Bryant, you've known him for a while. Connor, me and you have been friends since college.
Beginning of college,
So
yeah.
that's probably about, over
2010.
a decade now?
Over a decade,
I love
for
it.
sure.
Yep, you were in my wedding. We had a good time there. I was not in your wedding. Still getting over that. Don't worry.
Oh, no, you weren't. You were at the wedding.
I was at the wedding.
And by the way, isn't that where you saw your now wife?
I
Maybe
did.
for one of the
I didn't know
first
her,
times? You
but
definitely saw her there.
more importantly,
You're welcome.
Speaking of you're welcome, I think I'm probably I don't know if I had to put a number on it, probably about 90% responsible for your child being born. So
Please elaborate. Hurry.
So you're welcome. All right. Do you want to elaborate, Connor? Or
Tell
should
us.
I?
Tell
Should
us
I?
about. Actually, before we get too far into this, tell us who you are.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Who you are, what you do. Give us your dad resume. How many kids you got? What are their ages?
Kids that I know of.
Who's your favorite
Okay.
out of all your
Who's
kids?
your
That I'm
Exactly.
aware of.
Yeah.
Connor O'Mealy. I am the OG dad out of our direct friends group.
Yep.
Me and my wife started off first. And I'll get into that story here in a little bit, apparently. But my son Landry is 4.5, and he is just the happiest, is energetic kid you're ever gonna meet.
He really is just the coolest kid.
We got lucky. We haven't had a whole lot of headaches or struggles or any of the normal parenting things.
Yeah.
And we're probably gonna keep it to one kid because I'm pretty sure the second one will be the spawn of Satan if we pushed our luck.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's kind of how that works, right? It's almost like
That's what I'm told, and I'm not willing to find out
Sure.
myself.
I don't blame you at all
So-
there.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Listen to it. Congrats on the sex. We're glad you're here, dude. Obviously, we're good friends with you. We're excited to have you talk about it. I'm pretty sure we met when I was teaching in college class. That
when you taught my college class?
Yeah, when I taught a college class that you were in.
Because you're so
I
much.
did not know you.
Because you're so much older than me.
Because I'm like 3 or 4 years older than him. I got to teach I was a guest speaker at a B-Law class for him, and that was like a junior level, senior level class or something like that.
I think it was business law too, so I'm going to say we're going to go junior end of sophomore year, maybe.
Yeah. So when we first like met after that, he's like, "I'm pretty sure you spoke in one of my classes." I'm like, "Yeah, great. I'm 1,000 years old. Really excited. Love that." So we have a handful of repeated things every week that we want to talk about, and we always start out with tantrum of the week. I'll start because I want to let you guys guys some time to think. My tantrum of the week was not so much a tantrum as it was crossing something off, like the new dad bingo card. I had to take my kid to the emergency room this weekend on Sunday, and I hate hospitals so much, but spent 4.5 hours in the emergency room with Elsie, only for them to tell us that she has some kind of virus, but we can't really tell you what it is because we don't really know. We can only tell you what it's not. It's like, great, really excited and love that. But unfortunately, that means for the last 6 days since we actually took her to the hospital, she has been super needy and hasn't been feeling good, and sleep has sucked. And so it's been like a week-long tantrum for my daughter and for me, because I'm a wuss and I like sleep, and so I haven't gotten any of it. So Liv has gotten to put up with 2 tantrumy children in our house this week. So do you have anything this week?
Yeah, and the best part about viruses, you ask the doctor, well, what can we do to fix it?
Nothing.
Wait it out.
You just got to sit there and wait. Thanks.
Yeah, really love it.
Virus, I about said. Yeah, so tantrum of the week. Honestly, had a pretty good week. So nothing major, but the other day, my wife loves Christmas, and you guys know we bought a new house not too long ago, so we needed to get, obviously, a new Christmas tree for the house. Yeah, priorities. And so we went Christmas tree shopping. We went to At Home, Walmart, all these different places. Lowe's has Christmas trees, too. So he's like, oh, hey, let's go to Lowe's. So we go there. Liam loves Lowe's. Loves just running around, seeing all the, I guess all the dude stuff, Lowe's. So I'm proud of him for that.
Man stuff.
But
what is this, Tim Allen with Home Improvement?
Yeah, you do have the beard and the shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so
Al Borland. Sorry.
Yeah, but no. So we was just trying to make a quick trip out of it. Hey, look at the trees. Any of them that we like? No. Okay, let's get out of here. So it's like 5-10 minutes max. So we start heading to the door. And, Liam's just walking right beside us. And then we get to the door, and he realizes, oh, we're leaving Lowe's. I don't want to leave Lowe's.
Oh, no.
So he just lays down on the floor.
Oh, shit.
He's not throwing a fit or like losing or anything like that. He just lays down right in the exit door. And there's all these people that are like checking out. They're like trying to leave Lowe's. And there's a 2-year-old just laying right in the door.
On the ground.
I'm like, dude, come on, we got to go. He's like, nope, I'm just going to lay here. So then I have to, pick him up off the floor. And then he starts to lose it.
Of course.
So yeah, that was my tantrum. What about...
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever that happens and you have to pick up your screaming child and just like leave, do you ever feel like someone's going to be like, is that really that kid's dad? Like, is he not just taking this kid? Because... I've had that thought, because I think if some little kid was screaming or something like that, I would be like, okay, let's make sure like that person is their parent.
The one good thing I have going for me with that is Liam is just a mini me.
Yeah, same, exact same.
So
I'll argue that one all day long.
Yeah, so I think I could probably get by. Once Brody gets to that stage, I don't know, because he looks just like Allie. So yeah, but I've never thought about that, but that's a good point.
Well, and we've talked about this before, that you're so locked in and focused on your own stuff that everything around you just gets like fades away into the mist. You don't pay attention to what anything else is happening around you other than taking care of your kid. And so it's like, I don't give a shit about anybody. Just let me pick up this kid and get him out of here. Let's go. What'd you have this week? Any tantrums?
Oh, man. Landry, he's such a good kid. It's kind of hard. Like,
he is. I don't think I've
so
ever seen Landry like lose it.
Oh no, he's lost his shit before. I've seen it. I mean,
so jealous.
Hence why I have visualized people staring at me as I'm carrying the screaming kid out of
Fair enough.
somewhere. But so I have gotten to the point of, Landry's an only child. He needs to pick up his own toys. He's old enough.
Yeah.
He's like, so I coerce him with quarters. So every time
Start out big.
I like
huh, with
quarters.
he
the
names his price, and we negotiate back and forth, so I can teach him some.
Week 2 of negotiating
some,
with children.
yeah.
Travis talked about negotiating with books with Emmy.
Okay. Well, I negotiate with quarters, so worst case, I'm out a couple bucks at most, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he starts picking up his toys in his playroom, and he picks up like one, and then just looks at me like, Dad, this is hard. Will you help me?
This is hard.
And of course, I want to be like, absolutely, I'll do whatever you want me
Sure,
to.
right.
Yeah, but I have to be strong and be mean.
Be mean.
What I think is mean.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm just like, no, you made a deal, 4 quarters, and you're going to pick up all your toys because Mommy wants the house picked up. Always blame it on her.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Because if Mommy says it, it's a whole different story than if I say it. It's always right.
Yeah.
So he starts crying.
Oh, no.
And then stops crying all of a sudden as I'm like in the kitchen area, which has got a wall separating the playroom. And then I notice he looks up to see if I'm looking at him, if he, like noticing that he's crying
Yeah.
and like needing help.
Right.
So that was entertaining. And Stephanie and I just look at each other and just start laughing because it's like he's totally manipulating us. But
100%.
Oh, yeah.
but
Absolutely.
as an only child, I think he can get away with that.
Yeah, they are a lot smarter than what you think.
So picking up toys that might have taken him a couple minutes altogether ended up taking 15 after his mom helped him pick them up.
Well, that happens.
Yeah.
And that's, we have just started to see that with Elsie. The fake cry. The please look at me for attention cry. She's 17 months old, so it's probably not real, but you can definitely tell, like, there is a I'm hurt or I need help cry, and then a, like, I'm just whining cry. And it's like, okay, we got to learn how to balance the two of those.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, Liam does the same stuff. But no, in all honesty, I've been around Landry countless times, and he's such a good kid. He's so well mannered, like so polite. So Connor, share with us, some of your dad hacks or your dad advice,
because obviously it's working.
Because you're doing a heck of a job.
Some parents are going to probably want to stab me for this comment, but like
His hat's going to get so big. We're going to have to undo, like, his head's just going to keep inflating. Can you, with that hair, can you put your hat back on, please? Thank you.
I fixed my hair for work today at least, and then just threw my hat
it looks
on
pretty.
to come here.
It looks pretty.
So you know what?
All right, sorry. I
No, I think, and I know Allie is this way, so no offense, but like the schedules and stuff like that, we just don't. We don't, like, he doesn't have a set bedtime every night. He wakes up about the same time because he goes to daycare and school and all that stuff, and Steph takes him early in the morning. But like, that has been the best thing for us, is just not worrying so much about a schedule because he sleeps so dang well already on his own. Why mess with a good thing?
I roll.
I know. And
I'm jealous.
and
I'm
he's,
excited for you.
he's
I'm just
always
jealous.
been a sleeper. Like, that's never been an issue. It's now getting an issue to where, like, if he doesn't get a nap in the day, like just a short little resting or sitting down for 30 minutes or whatever, he gets kind of grumpy. But he goes by his own clock, and it's perfectly fine. It hasn't bit us in the ass yet.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you've talked about this before, so it's not really a dad hack, but like, you don't have words of advice. You have a lot of good role models. You've got a lot of good, like, dadding by example.
Oh, yeah.
That you have kind of talked about with us before, and we wanted to hit on that, mostly because we knew potentially that you might not have a line like dad hack of the week, kind of like, clickbaitable line, but rather some good stories about kind of learning by example.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of those.
I'm blessed where I have parents that have been married for almost 40 years. And my in-laws have also been married. They're probably about 5 years younger than my parents, but both great dads that Landry gets to look up to, and have great grandfathers in his life, which is kind of one of the main reasons we stayed around the area.
Sure.
Because I didn't grow up with very close relationships with my grandparents, but I wanted that for him. So, my dad doesn't do everything right, but he tries and worked his tail off and all that. So just seeing that and realizing, like, that's what I need to do for Landry. And then watching, I don't know if you watch your father-in-law parent your wife necessarily, but like, I can visualize what that was like whenever they were kids, and just seeing that. And then, you know what? I'm going to brag on Derek for a second. They came over for dinner a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago, whatever. And, Liam's potty training.
Yeah,
So
right in the heart of it. Did you figure out a treat for him yet, by the way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can bribe him with, like, anything sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, that's
There you
perfect.
go.
What else do you need?
Any type of candy bar.
Wow.
Nice. Well,
Conveniently, Halloween just
Exactly.
Oh, right.
Right
So
around with
we
Halloween.
are stocked up on treats, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
But yeah, they came over for dinner, and Liam's potty training, and he's not 100% sure if he actually has to go poop or if he's, that's the cool thing to say at the time, right?
Yeah, that's just the word.
Homeboy had to go like 7 times with like 5 minutes in between each time.
Yeah.
And Derek didn't lose his cool once.
Yeah.
And if that were me,
Yeah.
I told Steph whenever you guys left, I'm like, my goodness, if I could just encompass some of encompass. I'm going to go with that word.
Yeah.
If I could just encompass some of that,
Embody.
like patience.
There you go. That's the word we're looking for.
Embody. If I could embody that. Encompass.
I don't
go
want.
around.
I don't want your body.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's a great dad line.
That's pretty good.
But my goodness, I was impressed, dude. That you have a lot more patience than I. I mean, we've been friends long enough. You can agree to that.
Sure.
I'm not going to be.
It depends on
offended
the
by any
day.
means.
I'll say
No,
that.
I disagree with
Well,
that.
do you think it's so much time with friends like me and you though that he's just had to learn patience being around us?
probably accurate?
I think it's a little bit of that, and then also he's just like a good person. But we're gonna talk like he's not.
He
here.
doesn't. Does it not ever tick you off that he doesn't lose his cool? Like, don't you just want
it
to see
bothers
him?
me.
Don't you want to see him mad one time?
Yeah, I mean, I was stuck between 2 Clark Kent lookalikes in our last episode, with the short one Travis Lyles on one side and the 6'3" one on the other side.
The 6'3" sophomore shooting guard?
Yeah, the 6'3" sophomore shooting guard.
Forever sophomore.
Forever sophomore. But yeah, it was. I truly think that I'm jealous of the patience, because that's something that I need to work on just like you do. So
100%.
yeah. So
my ADD ruins that for me.
So wait, are you saying
Absolutely.
that your dad hack is Derek Chaney?
Oh,
Is
man.
that what
Go
I
ahead.
can take away
Go
from
ahead.
this?
Put that in there.
Can I go ahead and just take
Do
that
you,
away from
do you
this?
need a bigger hat now?
I love it. So speaking of family and talking about your wife's family and how they raised her, we've talked about parental mental health a lot on this podcast already. We've coined the phrase. We are going to trademark that because we like parental mental health just because it's rhymey. But we've talked a lot about how important it is for your own parental mental health to take some time for yourself as a parent, whether it's, the sleep training thing for your own parental mental health so you can get some frickin' sleep and actually function as a, human being the first couple of years of childhood. You and I have talked a lot about your family's parental mental health, and we kind of talked about this ahead of time to make sure that it was cool to talk about it. I know Steph had...
Do you want me to just?
Yeah,
start
I
off?
was just going to say. At the end of the day, you and I have talked about Stephanie's struggles, particularly with the postpartum stuff, and I was hoping that you would kind of elaborate on that and tell us a little bit more about it and how you guys overcame that. And
So I had no clue what postpartum was until actually getting into Landry's probably first year of life. My wife suffered from it, which it's a hidden terror is what I would describe it as. And just so we're clear, my wife has given me full permission and actually, tried to convince me that this is a subject that needs to be talked about a lot more than what it actually is.
There's no better solution. Than
So, she got into postpartum, and then that turned into full-blown depression and anxiety. And so she's medicated, but the process to get medicated for depression and anxiety is an absolute nightmare. People don't realize how long it takes, all the struggles, the silent conversations that you have that doesn't make sense, but whenever you're sitting next to your spouse and it's just quiet because they're in a depressive state and sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm going to bang on the table. I'm going to move like crazy.
It's all good, man.
My
It's
ADD
all good.
that kicks in.
Don't worry about it.
But your person is struggling so much, and there's you want to just go in there and fight and take everything out that's bad, and you can't. That's the most frustrating part to me because I'm a fixer. I want to know, okay, here's the facts. Here's what we need as the end result. How do I make it happen? And I can't go in there and fix Stephanie's depression and anxiety, which was, man, it was just so
There's not a lever to turn, or, a lever to pull or a knob to turn.
And it's just like she can't tell me what she's feeling because she hasn't experienced this yet, or she doesn't know how to describe. I'm never going to understand because I truly feel like I haven't really suffered from depression or anxiety myself, so I can't relate, which is even more frustrating. So every part about it is beyond frustrating.
Yeah.
So she has now got the right dose of medication. That's another thing is, it's trial and error with all the medications that you take. So some of them make you feel absolutely terrible. Some of them turn you into a complete zombie. Some of them are great for a good while, and then all of a sudden your body gets used to it and it just doesn't work anymore. So it seems like it's a never-ending cycle, which is beyond frustrating.
Sure.
Because we're trying to raise a family and all this, and we're trying to get her healthy, and then we're feeling the pressures of having another kid, which is a whole another thing in itself.
Sure.
So I think for her and I right now, Landry's 4.5, we have decided that pushing another kid is obviously not the right formula for us. It's not healthy for our family. It's not good for our marriage because it's postpartum, again, is not like foolproof. It's not like it's going to happen for sure with another kid, but it's not worth the risk. It's not worth my marriage to 100%. Me to even think about that kind of stuff.
Don't blame
so
yeah.
We've got such a good situation with Landry and just how good a kid he is.
True.
We have plenty of family time. I mean, I don't think you can ever have enough family time, but we have enough time to be together and enjoy each other's company, and that's good for us for now. Now, that's not turning down future endeavors like adoption or fostering or something because we're two good parents. We've got great families. I'm decent.
Hey.
That's the name of the podcast.
Exactly.
Just trying to be
good
decent
mom,
here.
decent dad. We get it.
Yeah. Great mom,
great.
decent dad.
Great mom, decent
Fantastic.
Correction.
My wife is a saint.
She is.
Yeah,
for sure.
She's the people
Puts up with
pleaser and puts up with me, but she's just through to her core a good person.
Yeah.
So with the postpartum, the depression, the anxiety, I know you mentioned medication. You guys having the decision not to have another child. For other listeners out there, was there other stuff that you guys were able to do that helped with that that you can think of? Because I know I've talked to some different people about it that kind of warned us. Hey, look out for that. And like one of them said, hey, go on walks with your wife every night. Have a conversation with her so she doesn't feel alone in this. Was there other stuff that you guys figured out that worked well for you?
Therapy, and more therapy.
Really?
And we never actually went to like couples therapy or anything like that. I was more than willing. It just never got to that point. But she started seeing a therapist, a psychiatrist, and getting on the right medications and things like that. It was more of, I like to consider myself a social butterfly, so it was more of staying home and not doing those things just because that meant more time with Stephanie. Whether it was beneficial time in my view or not, it was still helpful.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it was helpful for her, sure.
Trying to think what else. I mean, we just got so much closer, honestly, over time.
Good.
And working through that together, it just made us a lot stronger.
Yeah.
So if you were to talk to somebody if someone were to talk to you and say, hey, my spouse is dealing with this, if you had like a couple of just like bullet points that you would throw at them, what would you say? I mean, I know obviously therapy is one of them. Was there anything else that like you might offer them bullet point wise?
So my wife is somebody who takes all the negatives and just buries it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So I get in trouble whenever I try to pry because I just want to know, like, just tell me what's wrong. How do I fix it? And, again, I'm a fixer. So how do I tell me what I need to do here? And whenever she couldn't tell me what I needed to do, that was the most frustrating. But I think it starts with convincing them to, you know what, it might not be a bad idea to see a therapist. It might be somebody to talk to, somebody besides me or a mentor or, because like it or not, you can't tell your spouse everything.
Sure.
Whether somebody wants to, me and my husband have no secrets.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay. that's still something that's serious. It's difficult to talk to your spouse about.
Sure.
No matter what. Because you don't know how they're going to react. You don't know if they're going to be offended. You don't know. I don't think I was ever offended because I knew it was nothing that I did or nothing that I could have prevented from where it started. But yeah, they just have to talk to somebody. Talk to somebody they trust. Talk to somebody that
I like that.
it's going to be a
trust.
unbiased opinion that can give you some guidance that's going to point you in the right direction.
That's good. Yeah, I like that a lot. Well, appreciate you talking about that. I knew that was something that we had talked about before, and so I definitely wanted to give you a chance to talk about that just because it is something that's so important and something y'all have been dealing with that not everybody does, and so it's a good opportunity to kind of shed some light on that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you just mentioned it there, but I think, any of the mental health stuff, I think just talking about it, getting it out there, I think that's very important for anybody, whether it's your wife, your friend, whoever it is.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do for your own mental health? Not your wives, yours.
Sure. So make time for the things outside of my wife and child that are important to me. Whether it's hobbies. Frankly, I try to have one thing that I can do in the evenings that I can plug myself into and think about it. It used to be video games when I was single or like newly married. And now, frankly, it's become the podcast because I can sit at the computer that's behind the camera there and dink around and do editing stuff and learn new things on DaVinci Resolve and learn how to, edit differently or apply music differently. And it's something to plug my brain into.
Is that the software?
That's the software that we use to cut everything together. But just kind of teaching myself something new, learning something new. For me, that's been my outlet. And of course, going to play golf, because that's one of those things where you can either be not serious about it and don't pay a lot of attention and just stand over it and hit the golf ball and then turn around and talk to your buddies and drink beer again, which is generally what I tend to do.
Right.
But you can also, it's one of those things, if you actually buckle down and focus on it, you have to think about your golf swing. You have to think about what you're doing, and it takes your mind off of everything else you're thinking about, because you have to think about, to play even as poorly as I do.
I was about to say something, not him.
There is a clip from one of our episodes that's like a minute long of just Derek talking shit to me, and I've never seen that out of him.
I don't believe
he doesn't talk. I've got it. I'll show it to you.
Yeah,
it's like a full minute of Derek
episode,
absolutely talking shit.
Yeah, episode 2, and so I watched that episode, and then I kind of felt bad. Because
No,
I was giving so
it's
much
awesome.
Shit.
I'm so glad about it.
So I was like, you know what? We'll just let this one slide today.
But so that's what
I was
like
about to ask. So when are you going to start thinking about your golf swing?
Yeah, never, not yet.
Okay.
But that's so my thing is plug into my hobbies and plug into something that can take my mind off of everything that's going on, so I just focus on something else. That's been my thing.
Yeah, for me,
I also need to go to the gym.
Well,
and I know that about myself,
yeah,
which is
so
I think
funny.
is what you're about to say.
That's about what I was going to say. Yeah, going to the gym or exercising. That's one thing.
As in downstairs.
In downstairs in my basement. I mean, just kind of like you were saying, like you just your mind just kind of goes blank while you're doing that, and you just really get into it, and you just kind of let things go that way. Then in the evenings, it's kind of funny. We put the kids down. And it's so funny because at first I kind of felt bad about this, but then once me and Allie talked about it, like we're both on the same page. So we put the kids down, and then there's probably a good 20, 30 minutes of just like silence between us where we can decompress, from like the day. Because it's like, I have meetings in the morning, then go to work, and then, go home and immediately parent. Allie, she's with the boys pretty much all day, which is a ton.
Yeah.
And so she needs to decompress from that. So yeah, we'll put the boys down and we'll just, just not really say anything to either one, just chill for 20 or 30 minutes. And then after that, then we, start talking about our day and, what went well,
Debrief.
what didn't, stuff like that. So that works well for us. That might not work well for everybody, but that's just kind of our thing, So
I love it. Yeah, that's good. Because I do think that is important, because you do have to, when you get married, the I kind of disappears and it becomes a we, right? Like there's not a lot of individual.
Supposed to, anyways.
Yeah, or supposed to.
Yeah,
but it's also very important to remember that you got to think about yourself a little bit, and not like in a selfish way so much as it is like you've got to remember to tend to yourself so that you can tend to the others in your family. Like if you are beat up, if you are tired, if you are a wreck, then you're going to struggle, or at least for me personally, I'm going to struggle being a good person to my spouse,
Yeah.
or I'm going to struggle having the patience of the patron saint Chaney over here with my child,
Saint Chaney.
because
When are we gonna get those necklaces made?
exactly, yeah, because I am so, I'm so
Yeah.
tired, or I'm so beat up that, like, if I'm not focusing on at least a little bit of making sure that I am getting taken care of in my own head,
Yeah.
then I'm going to struggle
Yeah.
with that.
I mean,
so,
if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of everybody else?
100%.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
I-
Were you gonna say something there?
I was just gonna say I go outdoors.
well, I was going
That's
to say,
what I
because
do.
you hunt and you golf and you
Yeah,
just ask him with
I mean,
his.
if,
Hey, by the way, he is Sitka branded.
Yeah.
Speaking of brands, it's on his hat and his on his
And we would love that sponsorship too.
extra
I
medium
have
shirt there.
a Sitka problem.
Yeah.
So I was packing up before I came here because me and Mr. Watson are going to go duck hunting or try to see some ducks and maybe shoot at something. I don't know. We'll see.
There goes
But-
all of our PETA watchers. Good grief.
Dang it.
I eat
Just
what
move
I
past it.
I
Exactly.
eat what I
Yeah,
kill.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm just joking.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
sorry for all your PETA members out there.
That was half
'cause
our audience.
That was our
Dang it.
PETA viewership.
That was 2 of the 3 people that watched this outside of your
Hey,
mothers.
we got 5 subscribers. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
But I start packing up because I've got Sitka waders and I've got 5 different Sitka jackets. I've got
Jesus
Sitka
Christ.
gloves. I got hats. I got and I just look and I have this big old bag that I put my waders and all my gear in. And
It's
I
a
just
Sitka
look-
bag, too.
It's not a Sitka bag, actually. It's in the same camo pattern, or the right camo pattern. But I sit there and I think, if that got stolen out of my truck, that's like $3,000 or $4,000 worth of stuff that I would be livid over, and just I couldn't handle it if I lost that
And
stuff.
not to mention, I won one Sitka beanie at
Yeah,
at,
did you give it to him?
at this
No,
event.
he didn't.
But he's tried
I
to
tried to
he's
buy
tried
it
to
off
buy it
him.
off me like 10 times. And you know
It
what?
still
The-
has
Sounds
the
like he's got
tags.
money to
Yeah.
splash, 3 or 4 grand.
Right.
Tell him it's
Right.
$3,000.
$100 says it still has the tags on it somewhere at his house.
Well, you know what? I was almost thinking about just giving it to you
I don't believe
because you mentioned we had dinner at your guys' place
Mm-hmm.
the other night, and I noticed Landry his hair was a little choppy, and I was like, gosh, we should
Oh man, that's
put
mean.
a beanie on that
segue
kid's
right
That's me.
there.
put a
That's
beanie
me.
on that kid's
Wow,
head.
you're a
cover
professional
that
podcaster.
Podcast.
But yeah, put a beanie on that kid's head, and save him a little
Okay.
bit of embarrassment there. So
What'd you do to that poor kid's head?
What happened there?
Because I saw the same thing.
So my kid has beautiful blonde curly hair.
Yeah, he's got a
Did.
mop, dude. Had past
Hat-
tense.
Time out. Let me tell the story, please.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So yeah, Landry went to. Oh, I want to. Do we name drop here of
Sure.
places?
We don't care.
It was
We've
hot-
already shit talked on what was the other one?
Supercuts.
Supercuts.
Yep.
We already shit on
Oh.
Supercuts last week.
Well, it's not necessarily shitting on their skill; it's shitting on their prices. So Hudson Hawk was $37 for my 4-year-old to get a haircut, and my haircut is $25, and that's with a 40% tip on it.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Yeah.
So my wife told me that she needed to get him in right before school started. So I understand the $37, but I'm not going to go back to pay $37 more dollars again. So whenever it was time for another haircut, I convinced her to let me just buzz his hair with a wall trimmer. Got the wall trimmer from my father-in-law.
Was it one
picked-
with like the guards on it and stuff?
Yeah, it's got
Okay,
the guards.
okay.
So,
Please tell me that guards.
the selection of guard was my problem ultimately.
Oh no.
So I picked what I thought was just a true buzz cut, right? Like everybody
Did it
had
have a
in the
number on it? What
summers
was it?
playing.
A 0.
It was probably like a 1 or 2. It was it
That's
was
tight. 1 or 2 is
it
tight.
was close, but you don't realize how close it is until it's too far to go back.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because especially if you start here,
Yeah.
which is where I'm sure you started, because I would
That
have
would be
started there.
accurate.
Yeah,
That would be accurate. So we're doing this in our kitchen, and my wife's jaws just on the floor
Sure.
as she's trying to keep Landry still so we can do it.
Yeah.
And
And if she's freaking out, then Landry's freaking out. So
no, she didn't freak out in front of him. She kept,
That's good.
She's
That's good. Good for
she's
her.
A freaking pro, dude.
I would've-
She
I would've-
is
I mean,
a
she deals with kids every
pro
day,
Mom,
so.
she's a first grade teacher.
that's true.
She
She's got
can-
way more. Yeah, she's got way better
she-
chops than I have actively like shucked and dived Liv's attempts to get Elsie's haircut. I won't let it happen
She,
yet. So
I mean, she deals with first graders all day long, and then comes home to me and Landry.
speaking
like
of
it's that
patience,
much difference,
speaking
right?
of patience,
And so afterwards, I can't remember if it was the night of or a couple days later, but like the haircut brought her to tears.
Oh no.
Like she was so upset with like how his beautiful blonde locks were gone and I'm sitting there before I had a second to realize how upset she was. I'm like, it's hair, it'll grow back. That is not the right answer, guys.
No,
Do
it's
not.
not.
But that is
brother.
such a dad answer.
is- it's
Because I was
100%.
thinking, I was like, I'd say that same thing.
Like it'll come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you cut Liam's hair tomorrow, buzz cut, don't do it. But if you did, hypothetically, it would grow back.
Yeah.
It'd be fine.
It's
right?
funny, Allie
If it
actually
does,
cuts his hair.
I was going to say, if it does, call me. I've got a shaver with all of the guards because this ain't by accident, boys. This is on purpose. So
Yeah, mine's just a little scraggly and nastiness for some hunting. So my
get it.
face doesn't get so cold outside. But
I love it.
but yeah, I don't think we'll be doing that again anytime soon.
I don't
even
stop
think
being
with,
such
like
a cheap ass. $37 sounds like way better than making your wife cry.
$37
I don't know. I would pay
for a
$37 to
haircut.
not make my wife cry.
Okay, you know what? if you could make a kid's haircutting place that wasn't so freaking cheesy and gross and like well kept.
There was one over by my old house that was weird, like playground stuff in it. I don't know.
And
Does that?
everything is sticky and it smells weird and like.
Are they
I'm
all
just
really
saying,
expensive? Is that the thing? Is like
No.
I've not had Elsie get a haircut.
I don't
yet,
think it's
so
that
I won't let it
expensive.
happen.
It's just okay. So we went to I can't think of the name, but it was over on the other side of town by our old house, and we went in there and we caught the lady that cut his hair on her smoke break. And she just smelled like an ashtray as she came in. So Landry then smelled like an ashtray after getting his haircut. And so we're
Great.
just, we're not going back
Yeah,
there kind
sure.
of thing.
Yeah.
So there's just not a clean, unless somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I just haven't found a clean place to have your kid's haircut.
No, I mean it's
Or
it's
somebody
tough.
who
You guys
wants
went
to
Well, so we tried a place.
Where did you guys go?
For Liam, like right after he was like a year old. I don't know if I should really say it. I feel bad saying their
No,
name
that's
with
fine.
the
Then you don't
story.
have to if you don't want to. We talked about one
but-
last week too.
But
Brentwood.
no. So we took Liam to this place, and they were cutting his hair. We didn't notice it at the time until after his haircut was done, but they actually like chopped the back of his ear like really bad. I mean, like the whole back of his ear was just like a scab, and we didn't realize
no.
it. And so like obviously he's losing it the whole time, and we're like, dude, like calm down, just get your hair cut. Well, then we notice it when we get home that he has like
shit.
this giant spot, and so now I think that's like shoved into his core memories,
Sure.
and he's like forever going to remember that because I've tried to take him to my barber twice where he like sits on my lap, and as soon as that barber gets those clippers out, he just loses it.
That's
But it's
poor
but
kid.
yeah, but it's kind of funny. But now Allie cuts his hair, and she uses like the same buzzer thing.
Trust mom, and that makes
And
sense.
and I will tell you, Connor, the first time Allie cut his hair, it was horrendous. It looked so bad,
So why was that not brought up the other day at dinner?
but it get
Because you're the focus, big boy.
yeah.
We're not worried about him. Not the patron saint of
It
Chaney.
gets better. She's she's done it. I mean, she probably does it every 2 weeks now, and she's got
That boy got to get that boy faded up, man.
and so she gets she's pretty good at it. So I would say I'd try another couple times. Just make the guard a little bit
Just a
bigger.
little bit bigger.
Just
Yeah.
or just call Uncle Bryant, because if there's anything he's good at is making people look good.
Well, and you can blame it on him if Stephanie cries. It's not your fault anymore.
He was 417's best dressed
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time.
That's right, son.
Still,
And I do
still
ask
claim to
him
fame
for
in that
like
one.
dress attire
Yeah.
suggestions on a regular
As
basis.
everybody well should. I think that everybody should
good
ask me.
Lord.
I was trying to comb my hair to give you an opportunity to comment. I realized, so I've watched obviously I've been editing the first several episodes, and I realized that I've been wearing a hat in every episode, and so I figured I better bust out the locks just to make sure people know that I'm not bald.
Yeah.
Shut
I
up.
don't know, man.
Yeah, because that's dad, and like he has a full head of hair too, and my mom's
You'll be fine.
dad also did not have hair issues, so and I look more like him than I look like my dad, which does not make sense because I'm pretty close to him as well. I've got a feeling hair is not gonna be a problem for me. It's just like bad knees and bad back that I have to look forward to.
Bad golf swing.
Yeah, shitty golf swing, all of the above. I mean, yeah, exactly. So you've mentioned your son Landry. Obviously, we've talked about Landry quite a bit. Landry's a very distinctive name. I want to just wait. You just wait.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know our friend Connor here, Connor is a Drury University graduate, but is the biggest Oklahoma Sooners fan on the planet, more so than most people that graduated from the University of.
Yeah, has to be.
Connor has, on the inside of his wedding ring, has the OU emblem embossed on there. Is that the word? Whatever. It's stamped in there, engraved. See, now it's my turn to not know words. Stamped on the inside of his ring.
True.
Yeah. He marched back down the aisle after his wedding ceremony to the OU fight song.
Had an OU cake.
Had an OU cake for his groom's cake, I believe. So Landry, just very short answer. Landry is named after who?
Landry is named after Landry Jones, who was the quarterback for the Sooners and also my favorite Sooners player to date. But it's kind of funny because, everybody talks about how, like, they went back and forth with their spouse over names. Like,
Sure.
you went through a name book and you picked out, like,
we
dwindled it down.
We had an app. There was an app where, like, you pick names left, or you swipe left and right, like Liv and I did for Tinder
for
but
names.
on baby names. I swear to God, it was something like that.
You know what app I used?
Landry.
I didn't use one.
The OU roster
That's what I
app.
was going to say, the OU roster, yeah.
I basically said, boy or girl, what do you think about Landry? And we never questioned it since then.
Wow.
That's hysterical.
Nice.
I didn't know that the girl opportunity, excuse me, I didn't know that the Landry, because Landry would work either way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So can I assume that you are trying to brainwash your child into being an OU fan?
There's a
just
little
like
bit
you
more.
were. How's it going? How's
Can I
that going?
correct the story just a little
No,
bit.
no, you may
Okay.
not. No. Yes, you of course can say whatever you want, even though I'm right.
The OU logo is on the outside of my metal wedding band. I wear this green one because I don't want to. What's the ring atrophy or the?
Oh yeah, the Jimmy Fallon thing where he sleeved his ring, his finger, and it like came off. Yeah. I'm familiar with that. Look that up. It's vile. Ugh.
I wear these groove.
Degloved is what it's called. It's where like your ring comes off and it gets pinched and just pulls all the skin off. It is a problem.
terrible.
It's disgusting. So
Yeah,
I wear these
don't-
rubber groove rings and have ever since I heard that story, basically. So you should
No,
get
thank you.
Groove Ring as a sponsor. They're awesome.
Hey Groove, hook us up.
They have great belts too. So let's see. Outside of my wedding band, Landry Jones was actually named Landry after Tom Landry, who was a coach for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm also a Cowboys fan. So it was
The fact that you
was
know
meant to be.
who he was named
This
after
is so bad.
just shows how big of an OU fan you are.
Yeah.
I could scare you with the things I know about Landry Jones, the guy that never made it in the pros, but was like probably one of the top 10 college quarterbacks that no one will ever mention.
Sure.
But okay, now I'm
The guys that are good in
I'm
college
done
aren't good
correcting
in
my
the
story.
NFL.
Right.
The guys that are good in college are never good in the NFL. Tommy
For the-
Brady
for-
was
for the
dog
most
shit
part.
in college.
For the most
He's
part.
still a starter. I mean, if you started at Division I college,
Speaking of OU, Adrian Peterson, stud in college, stud in the pros.
Well,
I mean, there's
we're talking about
DeMarco-
quarterbacks.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
DeMarco Murray, Mark.
Never heard of those people. I don't
Mark
know who those guys are.
Andrews.
Who's that?
Marquise Brown.
No, you're
You know.
shucking the question here. I
I
want to
can
know.
keep going. I know all these names, so if we really want to argue, you're going to
I
lose.
know you're trying to brainwash your child into being an OU fan. How's it going?
Not working well.
It's not going, is it? How's it going?
yeah, please elaborate on that.
So let me start off with a story. We were trick-or-treating the other night. And this guy has an OU flag in his garage. He's got an OU fold-up chair. And so I yell, "Boomer," as I do to
Sure.
anity I see wearing OU attire, because if they respond with Sooner, I know they're truly a fan.
Yeah, they're
if
a
they
good
just look
person.
at me like I'm an idiot, 100%, they're a good person. If they look at me like I'm an idiot, I know that they are fakes.
Yeah.
Or if they just reply "Boomer" back, then they're still fakes.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
So then my child, who's holding my hand as we're walking up this guy's driveway, yells, "Boomer Sooner!" And I'm like, oh my goodness.
My man.
I love you, kid.
Yeah.
But we were watching OU's having a rough year this year. Screw you, Lincoln Riley. But
Nobody is more excited about that than Connor and I, though. I mean, excuse me, Derek and I, though, just for your sake, like, we're really excited about how bad of a year OU's having.
Okay. Derek Chaney only watches OU games to watch me react to said
100%.
games.
Did you know that I won't go anywhere in public with you anymore when OU is playing because of your reaction to OU sports in general?
Yeah, not just football.
When have I been around you?
We
for
were
OU
at
games?
a Rotaract social one time at some bar, and an OU women's volleyball game was on. Volleyball match? Whatever. A volleyball game was on the television, and you were screaming at the TV in a very crowded bar over an OU women's volleyball match.
Well, like they say, there's only one Oklahoma. So.
I won't go anywhere with you in public with OU's on TV. I'm not doing
No sports bars.
it. No sports bars ever again. I love you, but no.
Well, you know what? You couldn't even schedule your wedding on a good day, so...
That's right. We did do that. We did mess that up for you, didn't you?
You and Bowen Schulte. So he had his wedding during the OU Texas game.
Was that
which
the
is
Red River?
That's Red River rivalry.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's rivalry now. Shootout is inappropriate.
That's fair. Okay, yeah, rivalry's probably better.
Who wants to get
Screw
shot?
it. Red River shootout. That's what it is. Anyways, he had his wedding, big Catholic wedding, right in the middle of it. It's an hour and a half ceremony.
That was a long ceremony.
My phone was not getting signal, so my good friend Derek Chaney handed me his, and I watched the entire game during
You're
the wedding.
welcome.
And
It's an hour
my
and a half
wife
long
was
ceremony,
literally
right?
holding me down with her arm as I would just go kind of thing.
Sorry, I completely
you-
derailed the story here. You were watching an OU game with your son the other day.
Goodness
Was I
gracious,
not correct?
I'm trying to. Okay. Anyways, I was
I've derailed the story. I
watching
apologize.
the OU Kansas State game, which is the first loss of OU's season. We've had
How many of you guys
more
had of
since
that this
then.
year?
I don't want to talk about it. And so my child, as I'm watching the game, and my wife is trying to convince my child, like, this is fun, right? We love watching Sooners football. My kid says, and I quote, I like the blue team because they are bigger and faster and stronger and better.
Who were they playing?
Kansas State. So he had it wrong with
Purple.
blue,
Yeah.
but it was purple.
Man.
But
That had
I looked at that kid. I looked straight through him.
It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy.
Connor's like, you are my least favorite child now. And my
I only
favorite.
got one.
I like the dogs better now. Whatever. My hunting dogs are nicer than you, child.
My goodness. And then after the fact, whenever my wife is just dying.
Oh, yeah, of course.
literally,
She's absolutely laughing her ass off, I'm sure.
she finally comes to and she's like, all right, Landry, we don't say those things. We don't say those kind of things. And he's like, no, I like the blue team. They're great. Like, just keeps going on. And to the point where I'm like, you probably want to take him in the other room and play, don't you? I need to be alone right now.
That's my favorite thing.
That is great.
That's my
I
favorite thing.
wish I could have been a fly on the wall. when this
Seriously.
was all
No, I would have
happening.
loved to have been there. That makes me so happy. All right, so of course we're obviously going to do the last of the three things that we do in every single episode, dad joke. Wouldn't be a dad podcast without a dad joke.
No.
And I'm going to put you on the spot because you keep forgetting to bring one and or you keep screwing up and bringing the same one I bring.
Yeah, you say that, but then like the first two episodes, your jokes weren't even dad jokes.
I looked it up. The internet agrees with me. They should be punny and they should be inappropriate.
One of our
Internet is never wrong.
one of our guests said that if you can't say it in front of your kids, it doesn't count as a dad joke.
That was Cameron's line, and as much as I hate to admit it, he's
Yeah.
probably right.
But anyways, yeah. So you made fun of me for not bringing a dad joke that one week because I was not prepared. Shame on me. I'll take
bad
full
podcasters.
blame for that and not put it on my kid like you do, Bryant. But
Wow, have you ever seen this out of him?
anyway,
This more
I
shit
like
talk.
it.
I'm
I
into
like
it.
it.
I'm into it.
so you guys know, I went down to Mexico last week
with your
right,
boss.
with my boss. I went down to the beach and also I was thinking about the podcast because again, Bryant was making fun of me for not bringing a dad joke to that one episode.
Yeah, he's got to get some good ones from
So
Mexico.
I'm down there, I'm just on the beach, listening to the ocean, and you know what it, you know what it,
way more sexy than he intends it to.
wow, yeah, I wasn't planning on going that route, but
You want to take your shirt off?
but
Please.
but yeah, you know what the ocean said to me?
What's that?
It didn't say anything. It just waved.
Oh my god.
I like it.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I like the workup on that.
Yeah,
one.
that's
yeah.
pretty good. No, that's pretty funny. Actually, so Elsie has been big on. This week has been tough because Elsie hasn't wanted to eat. She's been
Right.
sick. It's been an issue. But one of the things that I can always depend on her to eat are eggs. And so I thought of the dad joke. What kind of hair do they sell at Waffle House? Do you know? Like what kind of hair they sell?
That's a good question.
Extensions.
Nice.
That's as close as we're gonna get, boys. Like it's
Egg
terrible.
extensions.
Extensions.
I don't know how
Connor-
I didn't think of that with you
Yeah, no.
bringing up the
as
eggs
obnoxious,
right before that.
obnoxious as that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. CO, you're the guest. You've obviously got the best dad joke. What do you got, big boy?
No pressure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to help everybody's lives out, and just help people live better, just as a whole, and just been telling them the benefit of eating dry grapes.
Eating dry grapes.
Yeah, it's all about raising awareness.
Oh, good grief. We've got this. Okay, yeah, that's really
That's
good.
great.
Yeah, good for you,
That's
buddy.
great.
I'm proud of you. That's I've been proud of you for like a few things, and that's one of them. That's really good.
There we
Top
go.
three. Top three
Yeah,
for sure.
that's top three dad jokes so far. We've had 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Number one.
we've had 3 guests.
My
So,
team can't be number one, but I can.
Yeah,
be.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Hey, they're number one in your heart.
Number one in your
100%.
hearts,
Not much
unless they
else, though.
aren't. So, in the interest of time, we'll probably bring it to a close there. We appreciate you coming, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
mean,
so much,
it's
man.
fun.
It's always fun
This
to
was-
bring
this
our
was
friends
great.
on. I mean,
This was great.
we wanted to do this as partially because we wanted an excuse to bring on our friends and talk shit and drink coffee. And so this is a really cool opportunity to get to do this. Plus, we'll get to show this to our kids in the future, and they can say, hey, look how stupid our dads were in their 30s.
So that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, no, seriously. So do us a favor, listeners. Check us out on all the different social media channels. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Give us a rate and review on all the different all the different podcasts. Any place where podcasts are found. So thank you very much. And hey, way to go, Decent Dad. Nice
Yeah.
work.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Nice
Thank you,
work,
guys.
Decent Dad. All right.
Good
Well,
job.
thanks very much. See you next time. Perfect. Okay, so we're about to lose time.
Oh, I saw you hitting his
I'm
leg.
like, why the hell are you touching my leg, Bryant?
8:45.
I've got to watch.
I've got to watch. I can tell time in my head.
All right. Game time. What time is it game time? What time is it game time?
Penis, 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 penis. What does Ron Burgundy say at the beginning?
How now, brown
Oh,
cow?
no. He says more. Oh goodness.
Yeah, that's the one
Man,
I
I
always
should
remember.
have warmed up by watching that. That would have been great.
New York. Unique New York.
Work 60% of the time, every time.
Sex Panther.
Sex Panther.